Good morning, everybody. Lee Brower here, and welcome to this week's edition of Meaningful Monday. I am so grateful to be here, and I am so glad to be here. Here's something that will mess with you just a little bit. Scientists took people out into a forest. This has been quite a few years ago, and in a forest and in a desert, and they gave them one instruction: walk in a straight line. That's it. No tricks. Just go straight. They had GPS in their backpacks. Every single person who walked on a cloudy day, no sun visible, ended up walking in circles. And here's the part that gets me. They crossed their own tracks multiple times and never once knew it, going in circles. They weren't lost because they gave up. They were lost because they had nothing to fixate on, to look at, no reference point, no landmark, no light. The moment the sun appeared, straight line, almost immediately. Now, here's what I want you to sit with for just a moment. How many people do you know? Maybe you've seen this in your own life. I have certainly seen it in mine, who are incredibly busy, working hard, putting in the effort, genuinely trying to get somewhere. And yet, 6 months later, a year later, they're essentially back where they started. Same conversations, same frustrations, same circle. They weren't lazy. They weren't weak. They just lost sight of their fixed point, the fixed point to walk toward. And then I think about a morning 13 years ago. I had a workshop participant come up to me. You've heard me say, many of you have been around me for a while, you've heard me share this story. But he couldn't wait to tell me about his hike that he'd done. He loved to hike in high mountains in Colorado. So he's hiking about 10,000 feet, a couple inches of snow, and he hears footsteps coming from behind. Remember this story? As he gets closer, he picks up his pace because, nobody wants to get past on a mountain. But the footsteps kept coming. And then right alongside of him is a man in his 70s. And he says, "Oh, I can't let that happen." And so he kept pushing out, and he finally reached out to him and said, "What drives you?" I'll never forget his answer. "My vision of the future sustains my present agony." 8 words. My vision of the future sustains my present agony. That stopped my friend right there in the trail because he realized in that moment that this man wasn't just fit. He had a fixed point, something out ahead of him above the clouds that kept every step oriented. And that's the sun breaking through. So the scientists and this hiker are telling the same thing. You cannot walk a straight line without a fixed reference point, not in a forest, not in a desert, and not in your life. That fixed point I call your enduring vision. It's not a goal. Goals are destinations. Your enduring vision is more like the sun. It's always there. Even when you can't see it, it orients everything, puts everything into perspective. Most people don't drift because they want to. They drift because the clouds rolled in. Maybe it's a hard season, a loss, a pivot that took longer than expected. Sometimes what looks like circling is actually, let's call it a cocoon. The caterpillar isn't lost. It's becoming in that cocoon. But even in that season, something has to stay fixed. And the vision of what you're becoming without the cocoon is just a place you got stuck. Enduring principles are what keep you oriented when the vision feels distant. The yes and the no. This direction or that direction. In the darkest moments, they're the ones that determine our course. The hiker on that mountain had both. He had a vision out ahead, but he had principles under each step. So here's today's ripple. Before anything else, before the meetings, the decisions, the noise, just look up. I was going to say, just look up to see the sun, but just look up. That's probably a good idea in and of itself. Just look up. Ask yourself, can I still see my sun, S-U-N? Is my enduring vision still in view? Or have the clouds rolled in and I've been working hard, but it's in a direction I haven't checked lately? If the clouds are there, that's not failure. That's just human, right? The scientists have proved it. We all drift. But here's what I found after 25 years of carrying a simple rock in my pocket. Gratitude is what makes you look up in the first place. Not gratitude for everything being perfect, but gratitude in the moment, even the hard one, even the cloudy one. Because a grateful heart looks for light, and light is what keeps you walking straight. So, one more thing, just as kind of a heads up, we're working on something that I think you're going to find for you on the mornings when you need it most. Brief, simple, just enough to keep you flying. Very short. We're calling it the butterfly moment, but more on that soon. Until then, keep making ripples. Make the ripples that land in generations you'll never meet, at least in this life. Make this week meaningful, and I look forward to talking to you next week. Bye-bye.